Sometimes you don't stop enough to hear your own voice, and you don't put yourself in an agenda. Even doing nothing is something. I think all that comes from inner peace. We cannot share what we don't have. You can give love to everybody, help everybody, because your inner fountain of love is full.
What was quietly missing for you at that time?
Consciousness. I was a workaholic and I didn't know it.
What was so special about this moment?
A lot of my classmates, they being in TED Talk speakers, and it was me. My voice was almost breaking, and they start clapping and whistling for support, and I gain all that love. When someone asks you something and you say no, how do they react to the no? They get mad, they try to manipulate you, they try to make you feel ashamed or something. How they react tells you a lot. Just know, say no, it's a complete word. If you're a bird, your strength are not in the tree where you land off. It's in your wings.
Welcome back to Catch the Upswing for a special episode from Lima in Peru. And I'm really thrilled to welcome my guest today, who had a successful career and then had an experience that really changed everything. And so what she built next has really transformed thousands of lives. So warm welcome, Jessica Soto. I'm so pleased to have you in person.
Thank you, Jessica. We have a beautiful name in common.
We do.
Well, I think in our life, the fact that we are all the time helping other women is what make us cross paths a few years ago. And I'm thrilled that you're in my country right now in an event that we can connect in a more personal level. And I'm very grateful that you invite me to this podcast.
Thank you. And we've had such amazing conversations over the last days. So I'm really thrilled to share kind of those insights and just kind of make our global community part of those conversations, because I believe they're not happening enough.
Yes, I think sometimes we are used to believe that whatever happens in our country is just our world. But businesswoman world is very complex. No matter what countries I visit and talk with women from different fields, different expertise, bottom line, we have the same issues and problems like family, career balance, personal life and professional life. Your choices, if they're approved by society or your main family, if you have kids, you don't have kids, how many kids, if you study a lot, then why you study so much, and then there's so many projections of everybody, and sometimes you don't stop enough to hear your own voice, to feel your body, if you're exhausted or not, if you need a rest, if maybe something that you love doing and you're just not doing it because you're so busy with, fixing things and, just not for yourself. And you don't put yourself in an agenda. Like, yeah, I have these business obligations, family responsibilities, but I count as a person and I need time off. I need also time for myself. Even doing nothing is something. Just don't need to be meditating all the time, but I recommend that as well. But just time with you being your best friend and stay in peace. I think inner peace is something that once you lost it, for different reasons like crisis or some changes that life is happening, that can put your world upside down, and you lost inner peace for a moment. But there are a lot of people that I talk, because I talk with people all the time from different parts of the world, that never had that. And they're like, how do you don't get burnout? How do you do a lot of things and you have a lot of energy, And I think all that comes from inner peace. That's why I love Kung Fu Panda series so much.
I love it.
It's easier to explain that way. But once you gain that, then you see that a lot of things that might happen are not worth losing that. It's like your balance, your main stone. And then you can give love to everybody, help everybody, because your inner fountain of love is full. Then we cannot share what we don't have. And I see people breaking even their bodies because they're sick, because they do many things, and none of those things are for themselves.
What does it actually feel like to have inner peace?
Oh, it's like, actually, for me, the best description is like you're happy and enjoy the moment, like being present. Like if I am doing something, like my work, I enjoy what I do, I love what I do, so I am focusing on that. And I'm not thinking about what's next or what I've done before. It's being in the moment, as present as you can, enjoying the experience, because every moment will pass. Like now we're having the podcast and we're talking, you're in Lima, but tomorrow you're going to be traveling back home. So this moment is all there is. And that helps for not just enjoying the moment, but being more conscious about what we do and why we do it. And for me, that's peaceful. Like I know I am here and I have all that I need. I'm happy that I'm finally see you. You're here in my country and we have this moment. That's all.
So kind of being present in the moment and not worrying at the same time about the 25 problems I have to solve later on.
Yes.
But just like for now.
It will be a time when you have to solve them. But right now, they're not here. It doesn't exist. And that's actually the point of view that helped me get a lot of women out of crisis. When they call me like, desperate or something happened, it's like, okay, breathe and tell me exactly right now what's going on. Because sometimes it's something that already happened and you cannot change, then what's the point? We need to see ahead. But then if you see ahead and all you can think of are negative things, then you get more anguish and the crisis will never go away. If you don't reframe it or change, different options, and you have the security that at least you have a choice. Even doing nothing is a choice. And a lot of people actually choose not doing things and let the society or the situation itself define the path or the result. So what I always remind people when something is going on and there's a crisis going on is just breathe and remember you always have a choice. There's something that you can think, and if you don't, just call the people that you trust, your support network. And we have a lot of ideas because we are not in the crisis. So we can see things from outside and might give you solutions that you cannot see. But you gotta build these spaces for being vulnerable, for being yourself, in a space that you're not going to be judged or tell you what to do, but give you options for you to decide. It's totally different view. So I think we need more spaces like that, because there are a lot of expectations, especially when you're a leader of different communities or representations, what you should do, what you should be doing, and that can kind of distract this connection of yourself and your time management, because we all have 24 hours, no matter what part of the world you are in. We have the same gift, 24 hours. Next day, we don't know. But as sure as I am right now, it's like, it's good to have business plans, projections, because we have to, right? But paper is one thing, and real life is other thing. And we need to have flexibility. And the most able we are to adjust and adapt to circumstances, like water, the better you will be overcoming crisis, helping others, because you cannot teach the path that you never cross.
A quick note of thanks and a small invitation. If you're enjoying this podcast, subscribing is one of the easiest ways to support the work and help these conversations travel further. I really appreciate you being here.
And that's leading by example. And servant leadership specifically it's a tough one because you gotta control your inner dragon, like help, direct, but not be bossy, be open to criticism. Other points of view are welcome, even though you might think that you are right all the time. That's
Does that happen to you?
all the time. It's like I gotta remind myself all the time that I don't have all the answers. That's the point of asking other points of view. But at the same time, you ask other people points of view, but you remind that you have a personality of your own, a think of your own, and then is sometimes good have this off time, just me and my thoughts, but not just be all alone with, my thoughts. Because we learn and we grow when we have people that we trust and we'll let them in. And when we are maybe, losing balance, being so bossy, not taking care of ourselves, some friends of mine all the time remember, you might not have lunch today. And I'm like, you might be true.
And then you get hangry.
No, yeah, but it's
So
like,
what
oh, yeah,
happens
right.
when you're
Yes.
not having lunch?
What happened is I focus so much in what I do, being present, that sometimes I forget little
Oh,
things
you
like
forget
that.
to eat,
Yeah. But I'm not hungry, and it's like, oh yeah, you're right. It's 4. Okay, let's go have grab a bite or something. But
You
it's
spoke-
funny.
Yeah, you really spoke already about like the importance of having those spaces.
Yes.
So the importance of having spaces where you you are in a trusted environment, you can bring your full self, and without judgment. And this is really what you've been at the forefront of. Before we go deeper into that, I would love to dive into your own story because way back when, had a successful design agency and you were successful by any measure. What was quietly missing for you at that time?
Consciousness. At that time, I was a workaholic and I didn't know it because I was doing what I love. I love design. I love creating, brands and talking with people, which is what we do for creating designs. But I didn't know I was repeating the pattern that I have in my childhood because my mom was working 20 hours a day. She was a wholesale fish and seafood producer for a big chain in Peru. So I see her leaving at 4 a.m. and going back home at 12 at night. And when I started my advertising agency, I did the same. And for me, that was normal. Like, oh, women work 20 hours a day, no weekends, no family time. My mindset was set to that. That's normal. And then when I start interacting with other business women in different organizations, I found out that they have vacations with their kids.
What's
things
that?
like, yeah, that's a choice. I didn't know that. So my mind changed. And then one of them actually talked me about this Goldman Sachs program that they have 10,000 women program, which was 10,000 scholarships all over the world, the globe. And I was one of the beneficiaries here in Peru. I applied, and then I like it. And then, I have a researcher in me that likes to, what's something I enjoy or like, I like to, do a research. And I find out other scholarships, and that's how I find out about Vital Voices. I am a awardee twice from Vital Voices, the VB Grow program for my advertising agency. We did a business plan as well, but in Nicaragua, they pay for all our tuition, and the program itself was financed by ExxonMobil in Nicaragua. And in my group, I have at that time, we were a very diverse group, and 3 of my classmates have their own business women networks from Argentina, Brazil, and we create a bond, and I admire them so much. When I get back home, I realize that the people that have their own businesswoman associations here, they don't share. They're like, this is just my association, and these opportunities are just for my own. They don't share it. And for me, that was a wake-up call, because what we've been taught in Vital Voices is share. It's like we invest in you for you to invest in your community. And investing in my community is not just the people that I like or my inner circle. It's like community. It's a big responsibility. So I create the Mujeres Líderes network. So it was my way to bring back. Also, they organize worldwide global mentoring walks, and I am the leader of the global mentoring walk here in Peru since that scholarship until now. That was 2013 until now. I've done it every year, even with COVID.
Wow.
We pass from personal to digital experience. We join Conosur, which they have Vital Voices, a chapter here in Argentina. And this year I joined them in the graphics and joined forces. So Peru was part of the Conosur experience this year. And it was Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Chile, Bolivia, and Peru doing all this event together.
Oh, incredible.
Yes, in March. So for me, it's very important that my country is part of global initiatives and spread the word of all the opportunities that are out there, and they just need to apply. And sometimes women are so busy that even if you tell them, this is an opportunity, apply, they don't apply. So in the community, it's like, have you applied yet? I mean, we're like kind of pushing a little forward all the members of the community when there's something that is worth your time, because applying for a grant or a scholarship, it will take time. They ask you a lot of questions. Sometimes they ask you to make a video, but it's so worth it. You need to make time for yourself as well. And these spaces, like the second program that they grant me, it was the Vital Voices Leadership Program. That was until Mujeres Líderes umbrella. And they put us all together in Johannesburg in South Africa. And they divide us in 3 groups. I was from the first group. This program was sponsored by Ponds International. And we have the CEO of Global Ponds with us in South Africa. So that was amazing. And then in the first group that I was in Colombia, in Bogota, we got together again. And they did the press release of this program in Bogota. And I was the representative of my prom in Bogota. And for me, that was, until now, my happy moment. Like if I have some challenge or something going on and I am, I don't know, sometimes tired, I remember that moment and just get back to my feet and solve whatever I need to solve to keep moving forward and helping more women.
What was so special about this moment?
It's like I was insecure because a lot of my classmates, they being in TED Talk speakers, master's degrees, very important. They've done a lot of things, and it was me. Just, I don't have a master's degree or something like that. And the fact that they got together, it was kind of like Miss Congeniality movie when they all come and help you do with the makeup and what clothes to wear, this bonding sisterhood, right there. And when I started talking, there was a point that my voice was kind of like almost breaking because I was really, really emotional, like in a amazing moment. And they start clapping and like whistling, for support. And I like gained all that love that it was amazing.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like for even last year that they invited me to Philippines to do a speech in an event called Unstoppable Filipina. 2 of my friends from that time, one of them flew from other island in Philippines to be with me in that event, and 2 of my classmates were there. One of them introduced me to her daughter, and it was amazing. It's like it's been a lot of years, but the sisterhood and the bonds that you create with people when you have real connections are there forever, for life.
Wow.
Because I haven't seen them in years. We haven't talked in years, but they create a chat like Jessica in Philippines. And we're still, connected. Those things don't have a price. I mean, there are things that are priceless. And what they say in Vital Voices is like they invest in you, and it's like you have this responsibility, moral responsibility to just bring back, and that's what I do.
In your journey, there's this special moment in Nicaragua when something shifted for you. Can you take us back
Yes.
to that moment? What happened?
Well, I was listening to the stories of other women, the ones that actually have the business networks, businesswoman networks. One of them actually was Ana Fontes. She have a big businesswoman network right now in Brazil. And she said, like, you're my first friend because they pick us up together at the airport, but we didn't know anyone. So she was my first friend. And just to tell you how everything you plant as a seed, you never know when you're gonna harvest. She contacted me yesterday for an event that she's being invited, and they're going to put together 1,000 leaders from all over the globe to discuss different topics in Medellin in November of this year. And she recommended me, and she's like, "Give me your email." And today was confirmed my participation in this event in November because she recommended me, because they invite her because she's a big. I mean, when I talked to her at that time, her businesswoman network had 3,000 women. Right now, it's more than 100,000 women. She have a selfie with Malala in her in her Facebook. So she's like my hero, my shiro, And she's so simple, so loving, so open, and watching these amazing women being like open to you, like see you as in the same level. Like we all might do a lot of things, but we are normal. This is our normal space. That make me feel safe and make me feel like I fit. And I guess before, especially when I was a businesswoman doing a lot of things by myself, I didn't feel like I quite fit because the other women, my friends, that maybe actually most of them at that time were not into the business world. So I was weird. And that happened in my country when I was a kid as well, because a lot of things, if it doesn't make sense, I question a lot. That's in me. I question a lot everything. And I do a lot of analysis of everything. It's in my nature, I guess. So I didn't quite fit in until I was in that space with these amazing women being just themselves and welcome me like, a fellow. And that clicked something. Also, the fact that they were so open about sharing opportunities. Hey, you're good in that. Maybe you can do all this. I got so many great ideas that I implement when I got back home. That one of them was doing the global mentoring walks. And actually, I was the promoter of global mentoring walks in Colombia this year. Colombia joined the global mentoring walk Icono Sur because I recommend one of the members of my Mujeres Líderes network. In Philippines, I did the same. I was talking about that. I mean, I like sharing, like they did with me, initiatives that can be held in other countries that are good, that are powerful, are simple, they're not complicated, but sometimes simple things can be really powerful because they can be replied or, spread and just connect women in a personal level. It's priceless. Because those bonds, you don't forget. How they make you feel, you never forget. Like my classmates in Bogota. I will never forget that moment. And we actually rent an apartment, an Airbnb. We got together a little longer. So those are like my sisters for life. And the fact that I get the opportunity and actually the blessing of meeting so many amazing women in my lifetime, for me, that's just a reminder of my mission in life and why I'm doing what I do. It's a bigger purpose higher than myself. And I'm here to serve. But again, the difference is also that you serve because you are fully, and that's why you share, and get wise enough to know the difference when you're being used by some people that can cross your path that are not in the same mission. And when you actually need to have a time off for yourself to regain strength, and also when is the good time for just let go everything and help, not just think, just help. If you can be present, that's the best thing that you can do for other human being sometimes. Just listen, be there, no judge, you know. Just give your presence to someone else is a priceless gift because time doesn't go backwards. So the time we invest in other people is a gift that will never go back. So we need to be wise enough to learn when is something that you're planting good seeds that might change someone's life, and when it's better not to. Because you might get, the energy drained somehow,
Yeah, I'm really curious about this aspect. How do you actually know when somebody is just taking advantage of you? Because you talked about this amazing power of sisterhood and shared purpose, right? So it
Yes.
can be incredible, but then of course, like not everybody you meet is that way. How do you know? How can you tell the difference? Or I guess like what are some of the warning signals?
Actually, pay attention to these things. When someone asks you something in a random time and you say no, how do they react to the no? They get mad, they try to manipulate you, they try, to make you feel ashamed or something. How they react to a no? Right now I can't. And that's it. Because sometimes we explain a lot why no, and that's also because we are a little guilty inside. But sometimes we need to remind ourselves that we do so many things at the same time for everybody that sometimes just say no, it's a complete word and doesn't need much explanation, and that's enough. And how they react tells you a lot of, if they're just expecting that from you, even if like they don't care why you're saying no. What's your reason for no, and that's it. That's a good red flag warning.
How does this manipulation manifest? You mentioned, if you say no and they start manipulating you, what does that look like?
It looks like, for example, if someone asks me to lend money or review a project that is not reviewing a project, is doing the job. For example, there are boundaries. And sometimes people ask you for one little thing, it's going to be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then you end up with an hour. Then you see that if that repeats itself, it's a pattern of behavior. Or you can be aware of how do they treat, one of the main keys for me is how they treat people they don't need. Like we can be in a restaurant and there are people that are rude to the waiters. That's a big red flag.
That's like around the world the biggest red flag I've seen. Like that's if I really want to, do due diligence, quote unquote, on somebody or like test somebody's character, I go to a restaurant to see how they treat the staff.
Yes, but also it works in the businesswoman world, how they treat the women that are starting, for example, the ones that don't have a career. How do they treat people that you cross paths? Sometimes in Latin America, a lot of people ask you for money in the streets. Well, not just in the world, because it happened to me in Spain, it happened to me in a lot of countries, And there are 100 ways of saying, no, I can't right now. There are a lot of ways of saying it. How they say it, what's the expression? And I've seen people that show off as well. That's another red flag. Either for lack or excess, both extremes. I found out that it was a red flag that I didn't see back then. For example, when you go with other businesswomen and there's someone that pays the bill for everybody and all that, you might be generous of doing that. But the fact that I'm like, the expressions, like I'm doing this, that's a show off, okay? Because I can just, what I do is I say, I gotta go to the bathroom, and then I paid and then came back and no biggie, something like quiet, simple. If I feel like doing it, I do it. But it's not the same. Or when you go shopping, for example, people that you see that shop a lot, but when they see it in the stores, no problem, they pay everything a lot. but when they see someone in a market and they ask them for a discount.
I love this example.
It's like
Yeah.
that
And especially if it's like
coherence.
handmade, right?
Yes,
like somebody
handmade,
who's like subsistence
yes,
depends
they
on this.
they don't have a store because they can afford one.
Yeah.
And they ask them for a discount. It's like, I see you spending 10 times that and don't complaining, just pay. And with this woman that you see that is, trying to raise more money for whatever, her family food or whatever, and you make a discount, you ask them for less. If I buy you two, how much? Those things for me, I didn't notice before, but those are red flags too, because the people that I've seen that was doing, they've been doing those things, end up being one of these people that actually were using me and I didn't notice at that time. So after analyzing behaviors, that's one of a red flag as well.
Any other red flags? How do you know if somebody's taking advantage of you?
Yeah, also the language. When people ask you, like, hey, for example, hey, 5% of hello, how are you? And then immediately drop the whole list of things that they want you to do for them. That's not flowing. That's a red flag as well. Like, how are you, Jessica? How is your kid? I need this. So that's, they don't even care what you're replying. Or people, when they ask you how you are, they're not really listening. They are not listening. And that's something that we sometimes overlook. But those details tell you a lot about the character of the person that is coming to ask things for you to do, or and those red flags. If you add them, that's a warning. Just run, use your energy in other direction.
And that's something that's very much linked to what you said earlier, people who drain your energy, right?
Oh, yeah.
How do you create boundaries and create that distance from people who are not serving you energy-wise?
Energy-wise, it's like I always analyze myself. How do I feel after a meeting or a gathering with any person? Because I sometimes speak with random people, like in these events, we talk. The purpose of these events, of networking events or forums, that we go there with similar goals, because otherwise we wouldn't be there. It's to be open to talk to people, right? But I am always connected with me. How do I feel after? And the approach as well, and also the scan that I told you. That's other thing in the businesswoman world.
Let's talk about the scan.
The scan. Yeah. It's like they're like from head to toe, and see already like a scan if how you're dressed, how do you look, if you might think you're not from here. And there are a lot of analytical things that are subtle, but the scan is never good. It's like I see you right through your eyes and start talking to you, because we are here. Or
do I like analyze and judge, right?
Yes, like the judgment.
Judging before you meet somebody.
Yes.
And like at this conference we're attending, it's all genders, right? Like it's mixed. Do you notice a difference between, for example, how men are scanning? I don't know.
Oh, well, I don't notice men, like, the ones that are there, they're there for a purpose for sure, because they're surrounded by women and we talk a lot in different spaces, a lot of information. So I think the ones that are there are really, caring for the mission. But I notice more details between interactions of women. If one thing that I am used to noticing is that, and sometimes what I do is, if I feel like someone is kind of like on a side or kind of like shy, because by gesture or postures you can see that, I just talk with them. And I try to make people comfortable around me, because that's how I like to be welcome or just be, For example, we were in the event of the that you held yesterday, and it's just talking with people that are there and what do you do. I noticed in these spaces a lot of women held back, or they're afraid to ask something, and one of the things that I do in the community is actually promoting that. Just be you and ask whatever you don't know. When someone asks me something that I don't know, I just always say, I don't know, but if you know, I want to learn. I like to learn new things. So just, be open for that as well. And I think in Latin America, especially in these events that are bilingual, there's also like this fear of connecting with people that doesn't speak your language, which obviously makes sense. But also they have translator, that the translation on real time. So even if right now we have tools like Google Translation, we have digital tools right now for connecting with people that you might actually require their contact information, and just go. Don't wait for everything to be perfect. Don't wait for, I'm gonna learn English and next year I will talk to them. Sometimes we are too perfectionist. And the biggest judge we have is our mind telling us that we are not ready, that what they're gonna think about me. And it's like, you don't think about that. You just do it. Worry about that later. That's not, just do things. When you feel like you're in the right moment, that moment is gonna be gone in a minute. The event for tomorrow is gone, over. And sometimes we need a little push, to just maybe type, translate, and show. Like you do when you're in another country and you don't know the language. Google Translator, I need this, where I can find this. Just use your tools. There are always tools available for the ones that actually want to connect or do something. Step out, of your comfort zone. The comfort zone is the little killer we have inside. Time runs out for everybody. Every day we have 1 day less. And most people, when they die, the things that they think of, actually in research are showing that, is the things that they regret. So the less regrets we might have, then the better.
And how can we become conscious? Because I guess often people don't notice what they're missing until it's, it's late, they're looking back on their life, and then they start analyzing and having those regrets. How can we be more conscious in the moment, in the here and now, so that we're not creating those regrets?
One good book that helped me, and you have the audiobook if you want, is Edgar Tolle, The Power of Now. It's one of the best books to actually getting you out of the crisis, any fear, because when you have a traumatic event, sometimes your projections about the future are the ones that held you back and keep you in this mental cage, because you are not present in the moment. You are thinking, what happened, which is the past, or what will happen that you don't foresee anything good happening in the near future. So learn to be present in the moment, and the way he explains it, like all you have right now is me and the book, and I'm reading these pages, and that's it. It helps you anchor yourself in the present time. And I think breathing is one of the best things that I recommend. Like if everyone called me in a crisis, like breathe and then explain what happened. But the first thing is breathing, because we breathe is automatically, but consciously breathing is like, just close my eyes and start focusing on, having a deep breath, maybe hold a little bit, exhale, and just getting like my rhythm. When you have a crisis or something, your heartbeat goes, faster. And with that, you just reduce the heartbeat and kind of like connect with yourself. Because fear helps, as a reaction, like, oh, if I am in the street and a car pass, I'm not going to be meditating. I'm going to be just running, right, for my life. But there are other situations that feel like,
like fight or flight,
yes,
but where you can take the time.
Just time off. Even if when someone wants to manipulate you, one big hint is that they try to push you for you to make a decision in a rush. No good decision comes in a rush, like someone is pressing you right now, we don't have time, it's going to be closed or over in this or that.
Sounds
right?
like a Ponzi scheme.
Yes, yes. And if you are getting pressed, one of the things that I all the time recommend that is useful, totally useful, is just say, I gotta go to the bathroom. And just leave. No one questions that.
It's the only thing where you don't have to justify why you're doing
it. Exactly. No one is like, oh, no, I gotta go to the bathroom, and just go. Breathe there. Take your time there, and think, are they pushing me for some reason? What's a reaction? Just cool off and analyze before you get back. But that's the biggest fast exit of, of even if someone is trying to fight with you. You're like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and just, you can stay there whatever until they leave or whatever. But it's a good time off resource.
You also mentioned the aspect of guilt. What role does guilt play in manipulation?
A big one. But also helps analyzing if that was something that you were taught when you were little. Because if the scenario in your household was, if you behave good, then I love you. When you do something that I don't approve, you're not my son, or I punish you, then we have this inner judge that tells you, like, you got to please everybody all the time. Because when you have a crisis as a kid, you have, like, basically 3 reactions that are for survival. Like, either I am the translucent, like, I don't do anything so they don't, harm me.
Playing dead.
Playing dead. Then is I'm going to make a lot of noise and behave, so you stop fighting and fight with me, but stop the fight, just focusing on me, which leads you eventually to a life of maybe a lot of extroverted people, like showing off too much, I don't know, or being too bold with no regulation. Okay, and the other one is the problem solver. The ones that try to fix everybody so everybody don't have a reason to fight. For example, I was the second one. That's what I'm used to, solving things. But once I realized that's something that is in my nature, and I actually do a lot of therapy to fixing that, is I have this skill, which is mine, but I choose when, how I use it, and to who I want to help. It's my choice, my call, not automatic mode of helping everybody because they just say my name, our name.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes.
So when somebody recognizes those patterns that tie back, for example, to their childhood, as you described, maybe they don't even know where it's coming from, but let's say they're noticing patterns and they want to change it because maybe they are the ones who are manipulating others and they don't actually like that about themselves, or maybe they're the ones that are pleasing everybody. What is a step they can take to interrupt that pattern and change?
Being aware that you have that pattern is a first step, because you never fix what you don't recognize that need to be fixed, right? And then it's just look for help. It can be a therapist, it can be a coach, it can be, thank God right now there are a lot of specialties, even for inner healing, to see if that comes from an ancestor, but just take action. It's like, if I know that I want to make a diet, I end up eating 10 chocolate cakes, that's something that is not aligned, is not coherent. Those opposite reactions to my will and what I end up doing, when that's not aligned, it's something in us that needs to be healed, let go, transform, for you to be aligned, and then nothing will stop you. Nothing, not even yourself. We need to take ourselves out of the question of moving forward. Just when we are aligned, what you say actually that's a good tool to use in noticing if someone is into this manipulating thing. Is like behavior. It's like when what you see what they say, do, and obviously what they speak or what they think is not aligned. Same thing works for us. Like if I cannot teach with the example, it's because I am not aligned. If I am not aligned, something is also inside me that needs to be fixed, help, overcome, heal.
And what
For
might
sure.
that look like? Is it, for example, if you say, I care about this cause, but I'm not acting
Yes.
in line with that cause? Or
Exactly.
if I say, like, I believe in patience and empathy, but then actually my behavior shows something else.
Yes, exactly. Or for example, something small, even like how we treat ourselves. How's our daily care, the relationship with me? I push myself to the bottom line, and also how do I react when there is a crisis, mine or other people. If I don't care, I don't react, I justify it. Those are good questions, like how do I feel? Because sometimes it's not just a situation, sometimes are situations that are small but generate a big reaction on us. That's a big call for doing our work. Because sometimes it's not what happens, is what this reaction is held in my body, but have probably the seed plant in the past.
It's triggering
Because it's triggering,
something,
yes,
yeah.
because it's not aligned. What doesn't make sense, like, okay, why did I feel like this way over this that is even a word? Because sometimes when we were talking about this before, we are not, I don't know, a seed of gold to be liked by everybody. Um, why then sometimes in different scenarios we want to be like? We like to be a part of something, right? But if that represents not being yourself or act different, that's not a good spot. And if you do that, analyze, like why I'm doing that. People sometimes even change their voice. I notice that much.
Oh, really?
Yes. It's like, I'm talking to you and I feel so great. And I'm like, no, you don't talk like that. In your house, what's going on? Those changes we sometimes don't notice. But if we are like focusing, maybe even see videos from the past, or ask your close ones, do you think that I change much when I am in this event or whatever? See what things you need to realign. Because I think those are like gold. Because once you overcome this and release yourself from all these behaviors that doesn't help you, then it's like something change and you just keep moving forward in a speed that you will never think of. It's amazing how things align when you are aligned yourself as well.
And you once said something that has really stayed with me, which is that the beauty of having those networks, like really those trusted spaces, is that it's something like holding up a mirror.
Yes.
And you had, I think, framed it at that time, as like the very positive side of it. But I guess it
Yes.
can also help you to reflect back on those things. So can you talk a little bit about this concept of the mirror? I think that's such a nice metaphor.
Yes, it's like it's easier to see a scenario outside, like they say that the grass is greener on the other side, right? It works both ways. If something in an environment of businesswomen or women, just let's say like that, that it kind of triggers me, like maybe a judge or judge about something or whatever, it's something that is not triggering me randomly. It's because there are things in me that I need to heal and look to see why is this bothering me, right? And also the good things. I see positive things I admire a lot of people. All of the people in my network, actually, not a lot, all of them have amazing qualities. And also that speaks to me of things that I have in myself as well, right? And this mirroring thing helps when you are vulnerable and you talk about things that happen to you, and then something in you leave, maybe not the whole experience, but a piece of that experience, a part. And that resonate with me. And sometimes things that I cannot see in my life, I see it through other people's eyes. And that's helpful because those aha moments that you can generate out of these powerful conversations, sometimes, believe it or not, they are life changing. Just one big aha moment from patterns that I've been having all my lifetime, and now suddenly I see other choices, other options, and my mind is like, what? I can do this? It's liberating and change your future. Like it happened to me when I was a workaholic, and I started talking with women that have vacations and time off and family time and things that for me were unthinkable before, and that made me evolve. Then all the opportunities of the scholarships, having sisterhood from all over the world, not just my country. And then I realized, okay, our problems are not just even Latin American. We have a reality, yes, that is similar, yes, but our main issues as a woman are not even Latin America, it's the world. So once you get this awareness of everything we do to help other women impacts the world, not just my household, the world. If I become a better entrepreneur, a better, I don't know, sister, mother, the best version of myself, I don't just help the people of my surroundings, I help the world. So it's a big different shift of mind, being aware of the impact we have is real and can change a lot of women and therefore families and therefore society and therefore the world. So it's big. Sometimes we just think that if my company fails, it's just me and I lost money and I got to start over. And it's like, no. There are a lot of opportunities out there. Use them because if you grow, it impacts the world. It's more powerful. And actually, sometimes it's even more responsibility once you are aware of that. But that's the point. We don't care or nurture something that we think is useless. And empowering women, it's a real thing. It can change the world. It's not just blah, blah, I like the T-shirt. It's something that I've seen over the years, and it gives me more energy to just keep doing it because I really believe that.
And as you say, then it becomes like a bigger purpose, right? Like
Yes,
it's not just this
bigger than you.
business for yourself, but it's actually like you see the connection to a much, much bigger version.
Even if you get betrayed, people trash talk behind your back, things that might happen. I'm not saying that all the women can be singing kumbaya every morning, okay? Because there are different, purposes or wounds. As I said before, some of the women that don't have a good relationship with their own mothers usually are the ones that don't help other women.
Let's talk a little bit about that because you mentioned that you've seen that as a pattern. I find it really fascinating.
In over 10 years of experience in being in the businesswoman world, yep, I noticed the ones that are behaving in a way that is envy or, not helping or admiring of other women accomplish or how they are.
Like an example, maybe? That what you've seen?
I have a lot of examples, but I cannot make names. But I'm saying like when I start analyzing what they have in common, the people that actually behave that way with me, for example, I notice that I remind that they have the same thing of having a very bad relationship with their own mothers. I mean, we can choose to overcome that, heal that, and, help a lot of women in our lifetime. But there are there are just a stock moment, like when they have this problem and you see that they don't want to heal it, and they're programmed that way. How they express, how they judge other women all the time. That's a pattern. It's just listening, the opinion. Even when you see someone is trash talking about some celebrities in the TV, that's a projection. That's not free. I don't even watch TV. I don't have time for that. My time either is, like meditating, reading, doing something, projects or whatever. But like happy people don't do that. And also happiness is a key factor as well. If like inner peace, the result is like you're happy. And people that don't heal the things that they have to heal with their own parents, they will project in other people what they have still anger, resentment, inside, right?
So
Vengeance goes to someone else's bill, right? And that's something that is not random. And we need to listen. And actually, that's one of the things that I notice in over these 10 years. And what we do in our community is recognizing, like maybe this is happening to you, but just heal. And then you will see other side, because we all the time, that's no negotiable, are planting the seeds that we're going to harvest. I'm not going to plant, peach tree and try to get avocados out of them. It's not going to happen. If we are more conscious about what we plant, not because I want, manipulation is I do this for you because I want you to do this, right? That's a negotiation. Sometimes if that's open, if I don't tell you what exactly is, that might be manipulation as well, right? And when you just plant seeds everywhere, wherever you go, because you can, and it's a bigger mission and you're there for a reason, because there's no coincidence. If I am in a space surrounded by whoever and these kind of topics came along, I know I'm in the right path with the right person, right? You never know what's going to lead to. And that's the point. As we receive things that I never imagined, because these opportunities, like being in all these continents and be able to talk with amazing women and learn from them and see all these mirrors, because sometimes I see, like, I don't know if that happens to you, like when you know someone and have this quality or accomplish something and you're like, wow, that's amazing. I hope one day, but if not, I know that exists. So at least I have a goal, a dream, one list, one thing to add to my list, in my bucket list. And I am grateful for that. The dark side of that is people that actually see that you accomplish something, you have something that they want, and they're like, why she and not me? That's a totally different approach. Envy. And envy leads to treason. And that's something that we overlook sometimes, but we need to be that's a big red flag that is not so red, because sometimes we justify things and we don't try to think bad, and that way we don't see when envy is present. But that always leads to treason. And that's something that we need to see in patterns, because sometimes that before happened to you, it will happen to other people as well.
And what does that treason look like?
Looks like, for example, if I go to an event that they say, oh yeah, to X Global, and I'm like, oh yeah, Jessica, but oh, you don't know her. She's like, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, you don't know her either, because she's not like that. But some women, some persons actually, that happens to everybody, of 10 that receive the same information, probably 1 or 2 will call you and say, beware of this person that is talking this to you. Not
So
everybody
it's like
does
this
that.
envy that then flips into talking, kind of tearing you down in a way.
Yes. Or if there's an opportunity for you that it doesn't serve me, it serves you, because it's in your field or whatever. And I have this information, and I'll give it to you. And I'm like, what's the point? I mean, even grants that I might apply, I share them anyway, because it will go to the better fit, It's a higher purpose when you are aware of that. But what I noticed too is this concept of this is a grant opportunity, a scholarship, whatever, and I keep it just for my group, or I don't tell anybody because I am applying and I don't want more people to apply it.
It's like the scarcity mindset, right? Instead of like seeing the abundance that's out there. Yeah.
And it will be more. I mean, just share. If you die with that information, what's the point? You don't help anybody with that mindset. But that's kind of like the causing of the envy mindset, you know, because envy is also scarcity. You think you will never have whatever you're envying of, you know.
Yeah, and it creates like this toxic energy that's not even serving you, yourself being envious. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually you will feel a little drained or tired, you know, when you speak with people that have that insight. That's what I'm saying. I always connect with myself. How do I feel after I talk with people? Because I can be in a space talking with random people all the time and still have a lot of energy. So that's fine. I know, okay, that was a good time, right? But sometimes you just have the opposite reaction, like, oh, I feel like I need to rest, or I just don't feel comfortable, you know? Then just cut your losses and run.
This feels like a good moment to share 3 Substack newsletters I genuinely look forward to. First, Lubascope by Luba Kasova. Luba writes social commentary with hard and facts, and she blends human stories with data and evidence in a way that leaves you more clear-eyed and more hopeful. We actually recorded an episode together for this podcast, and if you care about how narratives shape what society pays attention to, you'll love her work. Second, The Interweave by Marilla Menes. This one is philosophical, which I really love, and it's also extremely relevant. He sits at the crossroads of the economy, technology, and meaning, and writes about the big challenges of our time in a way that's deep, thought-provoking, and surprisingly practical. And third is First Followers by Conscious Futurist, a sharp contrarian read on impact investing, venture building, and innovative finance, with real nuance about incentives, values, and what better capitalism could actually look like in practice. If you're on Substack, go follow all 3. They're really worth your attention. What I find really interesting about what you shared is, on the one hand, like really this amazing energy of sisterhood.
Yeah.
And that when you look across borders, like all around the world, we as women have so much shared experience and facing similar challenges. And at the same time, we're also like not a homogenous group. Like we're so diverse, right? In all aspects, like our lived experience, how we grew up, where we live, or what we have experienced along our lives. And I think what's also reflected in what you're sharing about like the negative side is that, that women, I think historically have been kind of pitted against each other. So like
Yes.
those negative dynamics that you're describing, I think it's actually not so much at an individual level, but the roots go back kind of more to a systemic level. And I actually wonder what you described about the relationship some women have with their mothers, if that is also kind of this historic patterns of women putting down other women because, like the patriarchy basically has instilled that sense of rivalry or like envy, or, that there's not the solidarity because it's not serving the patriarchal system in a way.
I think it's also a mechanism of survival that they think it's the only way, because also they haven't got another model, another leadership model. That's why servant leadership, it's a long, a long path, but is the way that it will transform lives. I mean, the short run will be like, if you don't fix it, then just leave, and then just go. But then at the end of the road, you might let go a lot of people. Right? And then what? You will end up alone in an island and go back to the same thing before. Like, we need to connect. That's the point, right? But again, when we are aware that it's a bigger purpose higher than ourselves, then it's like, even if I get 1 or 2 or 4 or whatever of these bad scenarios, I always tell my community, my friends, it's like something we call pelusa, but it's like
what is it, like I don't know.
Yeah, but it's like something tiny that you can just
like
get rid of.
Like a little crumb that you just get
a
rid
little
of,
crumb and just nothing, because the bigger picture It's what you do every day. How I invest my energy, what lives I want to transform eventually in my lifetime before I die. Then the other, the best thing that I describe this, and it's what I all the time I'm sharing, is like I'm not changing my nature, my purpose in life, what I do for other people. Okay. I am very aware of what's my mission, why I do it, why I have so much energy to do things, because I love what I do, right? And I'm not going to stop loving what I do and changing my life path for a third party. Doesn't make sense. You know, it will be giving a lot of power to other people over me, or my decisions and my call. And that's what actually freedom looks like. If I have inner peace, I do what I love. I have the privilege of doing what I love. It meant for me that I couldn't change the life of my grandma, the one that raised me, and she didn't know how to read or write. I couldn't change, you know, because I was a kid, the workaholism of my mom and the fact that she had to do that so I can get a bilingual education in a private school. But I was in two worlds when I was growing up. I helped her in the market, which is a fish market. Doesn't smell like roses. It was a fish market, you know. And I had my little rubber boots, you know, helping her sometimes when there was no one to take care of us. And there were a big contrast in my life when I was growing up. And therefore, I see a lot of realities. And when we were talking, sometimes when we are in this social path, trying to do, you know, a better, as good as we can in this lifetime for different causes, right? Even between women, there is a discrimination like, oh, but you are not coming from this, or I don't live in this marginal area, so you don't understand what is happening, you know, what's going on with my life. But then it's like, I stay in both sides, but I live in a different side because I was raised in a private Catholic school in a good part of Lima. But that's not my fault. It's what God put me in, you know? And that doesn't mean that I don't have struggles. Every woman have their own struggles. The thing is, from the point of view of what's the puzzle that your family or your experience in life gives you to direct you to your goal in life, your mission in life. A lot of people can choose just have a regular life because they have money in their families and they don't need to work any day of their lives and do nothing for anybody but themselves. That's a choice as well. Then why sometimes in some spaces they want to turn down the people that actually do care? Just because, you know, there are a different point of view that you need to pass through all these suffering so you can help this cause. Not necessarily, but every help, every mindset of trying to bring, you know, good in this world, everything sums. And I am a strong, you know, believer in collaborative alliances. That's what I look everywhere. It's like you see the good side, yep. You can see the glass, you know, half empty, half full. Okay, I am in the group of half full. And collaborative alliances is something that I promote. But again, with the right mindset of the leader. If it's a servant leadership, and you see that there are women that already, you know, held accountable because they heal whatever they need to heal, then you are aligned, then you can do so many powerful things. Because when envy is not in the table, you share everything. This grant, this opportunity, this person, you share. And not expecting a comeback because that's not necessary. You're sharing because you can.
Yeah.
And that's it. Otherwise, it's manipulation. If I give you a gift, and after a week, I'm like, what do you do with my gift? Are you using it? It with you? That's not a gift. Exactly. That's not a gift. I mean, the same thing with opportunities or spaces. We generate spaces and promote opportunities because it will go to somewhere. Sometimes it breaks my heart that when there's a big opportunity and no one applies, then those opportunities are lost. And there are funds available worldwide to empower women and give them tools for them to actually, even if inner development, there are a lot of right now lessons available not just, like soft skills that are so soft, but the skills, for you to maybe increase your sales, managing, business managing. There's so, I think never in this lifetime with internet on the table, worldwide, it's been so many opportunities for learning new skills and resources online for women. Never. So if we don't take advantage now, you're going to miss a lot of development, income, inner peace, because you don't worry about your bills or how you're going to pay them,
Yeah.
in the future. So just spread it. If you see something like share an opportunity, a scholarship, it makes a difference. If you see that other people in your community might use a resource, just sharing information is a step. We don't need to have a lot of millions of dollars just to, do something for any cause.
Yeah.
We just need to organize and give time to something that you care about, and you're being part of the solution, not the problem. And all sums.
Yeah. There's something interesting in what you said, which is, despite all the diversity across women, every woman has her own struggles.
Yep.
Irrespective of, how much privilege or how little privilege, but everybody has like some struggle. And you mentioned, for instance, like one example, of women who perhaps have like a wealthy husband and, it looks from the outside like they're having an easy life. But even like those women, we just recorded a special episode from Mexico City about financial independence and what it means to lose everything in case of divorce and so on. So, even like that life that maybe looks easy from the outside actually like comes with a lot of struggle. And so maybe shifting gears a little bit, but I want to come back to this point that you made about, judging women based on their identity, lived experience, pointing out differences between women. And I think it's something, at least that in my experience, is not talked about at all, but something that I've noticed. And is this aspect of motherhood. And I've experienced this firsthand, not being, being a businesswoman for a long time, not visibly a mother, and how I'm treated, and then like what changed when I became a mother. And I know that you've also experienced aspects of that, right? Like how women who are not mothers are treated. And so I wonder if you could speak a little bit about that, because I find that really weird in a way. And I wonder, given your analytical mindset, if you have been able to make sense of that.
Yes, actually, most people they ask you, in my case, like I don't have kids. Yeah, and it's not that you wake up one day and say, oh, well, at least not in my case, I won't have any kids. It's just, I've been busy so many years doing a lot of things that I love doing, and the ones that I dated were not good for having kids with them, or or getting married or whatever. Then it's not the right environment for having a kid. It's not something that you go in a shop and then you will turn it back or a refund. It doesn't work that way. It's a commitment for life. And for me, it will be something that I want to do with someone that I love and care. If enough to change, like our bios to create a new human. And that doesn't happen to me so far. So I have this standard, and if I didn't happen, to meet someone at that level that I really want to have a kid with, then well, that's life. It's not. I have friends, people from a network that sometimes they just want the kid. A lot of women just want the kid, no matter who the father is, and that generates a different kind of problems. So every choice we have an overcome and a responsibility and a future you version that will adjust to all these choices. But sometimes they think, oh, because maybe you're too picky or whatever. It's not that. It's just sometimes your path goes to different directions. Everybody has its own mission. I have friends that do a lot of things, and they have like 4 kids. They have a great time management. I mean, you develop skills depending of the things that lives put you through. A lot of women that have kids in the early stages, like when they're 20s, or even I have friends that have kids when they were less than 20, like 18 or so, and their kids looks like their brothers or sisters, And those are different skills and paths. Sometimes they postpone their education. Some of them don't have a university education, but they do a lot of skills and have their own companies and make them grow. So, I mean, for me, I think that in the groups, when you start talking about your life, what you do, it's a little judgment from the ones that don't have to the ones that have, the ones that have later on. There's so many questions, but I think it's just a society imprint, of checklist that you might have in your life, and the ones that live a life that is totally not by any checklist, like totally different path, generate a new path. Because for my generation, I mean, for my family household, that was really male dominated, like huge male dominated, to say the least. My aunt, I mean, my dad's sister, she got an arranged marriage. And she have I have 5 uncles. So none of them think that was crazy. So I'm not telling you like a lot of generations back home. No, I came from a household that was just one crazy generation of really male society imprint. And the questions every time they see me in a meeting with a family is like, why are you not getting married? Why aren't you married? Why you don't have kids? All these random questions that I'm like, I don't want to go to these meetings. So I just avoid it and focus on my thing.
With that? Yeah,
it's just, I guess, in the path for you connecting with yourself, when you're happy with who you are and you do things that you love, then it's just a question. I mean, it's what they have because that's their checklist of their lifetime. It will be a point where you just don't care, because I don't have to give them an answer. They're not sponsoring me. I mean, it's not something that I care other people's opinion. Sometimes even include your parents, in my case.
Yeah, that's really difficult.
Yeah, it is. But it's not impossible because I've done it. I mean, they try, for my parents, they want me to study in a university management so I can take care of the family business, which is fish and all that. I think if they let me maybe study 2 careers because I love design so much, and I was like, these are nothing, right? My ride or die. And I've done a lot of things from my career. It was a technical degree, but with that technical degree, I paid 2nd, 3rd, and 4th careers from there until now, And I guess changing the mindset of a family sometimes makes you the black sheep. And that's not good. I mean, doesn't feel good when you're a child that you don't have choices and you are there. You don't have opportunities. You just got to be there, survive that time, right? But once you're free and you have your economical independence, then it's a blessing because you question things. If you don't find something that you like, you generate it, you create it, you made it, You are the change that you want to see in the world. And that inspire other people to do the same, right? And the things that I guess in this lifetime I got to experience are my experience, and they're good and bad like everybody else. And in a way, when you're secure, that maybe, not just maybe, because I am who I am now, is the survivor version of all the things that I have to, surpass, transform, heal, a lot of things to heal, huge things to heal when you analyze all the background and all that. But I wouldn't be as compromised as I am with women development, economical development, and personal development if I didn't pass through all that, right? And one of the things is that that doesn't define who we are. We are more than our work. We are more than our job or even our performance if in the families or not. I mean, if you are not a mother, if you are not, advocacy person for women empowerment, still you're you. And that's enough. We don't need validation anymore. So then when I got these questions, I really don't care. I'm like, be right back.
And also, like, just this aspect that you mentioned, that just because you didn't grow up in a certain neighborhood doesn't mean that you cannot relate, with empathy to their experience and wanting to, transform lives in all kinds of aspects. I think the same is really true for motherhood. Like, there's so much judgment that if you're not a mother, somehow you don't understand. No, you do understand. Like, you're not an idiot. Like, you're not like a robot that doesn't have any empathy. I mean,
or you don't have people surrounding you that also are mothers, and you hear what they've been through. So it's not like because you don't have this birth experience,
like physical right?
pain and go through that. Even that's not even logical, because every labor of every woman is different. It's like periods. I have friends that have 3-day periods. I have it a week. I mean, we all as women have
Some are
different.
completely knocked out, others just go to the gym.
Yes, so I people that have a lot of cramps and they can work that day. Even that is so abroad, and we all have them. Is biological, right? Same thing. I think will be like motherhood. It's a experience. We all might have different, or 0 or 100, but still is respect the choices of other women as well. That's healthy. That's healthy. And sometimes that lack of respect is the one that actually generates more judgment. And that doesn't help our cause. But most women are not aware that that backfires. Because also what you criticize on others is the inner critic that we have in our heads when we maybe go through that path, and it's like that all the judgment that I've done is applied to me now, right? So the less judgment we might have in our lives, the better. Just be open mind and just listen also, because we learn so much. I mean, I don't know how to cook, but I talked with my dad. He was like a chef, love Peruvian food, and I know about food, how to cook it, because all what we talk were about how to he cooks the food that he loves to cook. So I know, I didn't apply it, but I know. And you see, as we in Peru love food, I can recognize when something is well cooked or what the ingredients it have. But then I don't have to make it. Same thing I think will apply to motherhood.
And I think often it's unconscious. I don't think, I think most people, who trigger me, and I mean, certainly, like, I have some kind of a trigger there, but, like, it's not bad intention. I think it's very subtle, it's very unconscious, but I think it makes a difference, and I see also how it's impacting other women. So
also, it's not something that we should be ashamed of, because sometimes if you express something about your life, whatever, and you feel kind of like ashamed, it's because it's being a judgment placed there. If you're not comfortable talking about your motherhood and situations that you might have, with family or your kid or anything, right? Then it's because you're not in a safe space. That's the first clue. Then just go to a safe space where you're welcome and share what you want to share.
We're massively running over time, but I do want to
so sorry.
Ask you 2 more questions. So one is, with all your experience building networks, how do you very practically go about creating that culture, like the amazing positivity of sisterhood? And how do you deal with people who come to your network who bring that other energy, that more toxic energy? How do you, create that culture within a network to really preserve that culture that you want to see?
That's by example. There is no shortcut. I wish they were, but nope. And once you plant enough seeds in your community, by example, and they know the coherence and how you behave, how you take care of them when they're vulnerable, and they see you vulnerable as well, and you have this recognition of this is a safe space between us. If anyone calls for help or whatever, we're available. We are here for you. Then when someone tries to enter the space with other talking, everyone is like, okay, this is happening. We all connect, and this is not the space. We'll tell you, like, if you're going to talk like that, be like that, you're welcome to leave. This is not the space for that. So we take care what we built. You, at the beginning, in any community, in everything that you will do, you got to build. And that takes patience, compromise, and just walk the talk. If you don't walk the talk, you're not being coherent, then you will have the results of, because I see that in a lot of spaces. Because my primary goal is how much money I make, and I sell a fee, and I need more fees. Then I let everybody in. I don't care. And if they kill each other, they scam each other, I don't care. No, I do care. And people that are in my network care. And because we care, we keep it that way, and we recommend it grow, but the rules are clear. So, and this mirror thing is also the same thing. If someone comes in with a different narrative or behavior or whatever, it will stands out so much because everybody else is aligned in another path, right? So that's one thing. There's no shortcut. Walk the talk.
Final question. You mentioned something incredibly important, and that is happiness. So you talked about inner peace, but then you talked about happiness. What does true happiness feel like?
Just fill your heart and everything you do with love. For me, it's that. Like, everything you do, just do it with love, and be grateful for everything you have, even what you don't have. That's also big. Sometimes it's a little challenge when you have some difficult situation. Be grateful for that. But every time something happens, I'm like, I know something good is gonna come out of this. Something greater is gonna come out of this. I might not see it right now, but I am sure it will. And just helps transform the situations. And being aware that there's no other person like you. So just be your best version that you can be. I compete with myself, with the things that I know I can improve, I can be better. And that's me with me, I respect other people's point of view. Even what they say about me, if I like it or not, is irrelevant because it's their opinion. And that thing of letting go is really releasing and doesn't, push down your happiness, because the more happy you are, like, is this freedom from inside, like the fact that you are really light. Every day you wake up, and when you go at night, you're like inner peace thing, like you're fine, you're happy of your day. How it become, even if it's challenging, but are your challenges, you choose them. Getting away of victim land, I called. I am not there. If I go there, I get out.
What does that look like, that land?
Oh, victim land. Victim land is like everything happened to me, and just, I'm just there.
I'm the victim of my circumstances.
Yes, but then I remember that I take decisions to make me get in that situation. I can make different decisions and take actions that get me out of it. So recognize
you have agency
exactly
to change your destiny.
Yes, and that's the main important thing that gives you real freedom. It's like if you're a bird, your strength are not in the tree where you land off. It's in your wings. You can fly. You overcome a lot of things. Then this is just one more puzzle to solve. Just trust in your inner strength. And then just let go. Focus, do something, decide, and move. If you make a mistake, doesn't matter. You will fix it, learn, and just make a different ones, not the same one. But that's life. That's how you learn and grow. And I guess also with age, every step of the way in our lifetime have a different lessons. And in a way, when you overcome a lot of difficult things, then you feel more inner strength to overcome. Then it's like cramps, like I said. Just
Las pelusas, que no
Sí.
sabemos cómo se traduce.
Yo tampoco no sé. I don't know, but it's something on the path. You overcome more things, and it's just a little wave in the ocean. No
And
biggie.
find what gives you true happiness.
Yes, everything. It's a transfer. It's an opportunity for getting a better version of yourself. See maybe something dark that you have inside that you haven't seen before, but that's opportunity as well to just transform it and change it.
Yeah.
And the more you release, heal, and align in you, the happier and the more inner peace you will get. So everything that bothers you right now, it's gold for you to see what things back then inside you need to heal. Just take action, heal, transform that, and you will enjoy life as much as you can. Trust me. Being the present moment is the best that you can do. For me, is my key to happiness. I am present all the time in everything that I do. That's why I enjoy everything that I do.
Amazing. Oh, thank you so much, Jessica. It was so amazing to finally sit down in person and have this conversation. And
Yes.
we'll share with our community your network and your resources so people can follow you and connect with you.
I thank you. It's in Mujeres Líderes. We are in LinkedIn, in Instagram, and in Facebook as well.
Perfect. And we'll add the links in the episode description below.
Yeah, and the webpage is 3Ws, Mujeres, _líderes.com.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Jessica.
I thank you.